All right, so we're going to talk about the Los Angeles Clippers. Are you just trying to throw me off out of every introduction today?
Yeah, I want you to try and come up with something other than okay, so to start.
Okay, so no,
She said all right this
I
time.
did say all right, and then you went to
all right, guys.
Yeah, but you already did that before.
You know what? I'm about to Jim Carrey your ass and just be like, alrighty then. So the Clippers, they're projected for 45.5 wins, putting them at second in the West. They picked up Serge Ibaka and Luke Kennard while losing Montrezl Harrell, JaMychal Green, Landry Shamet, and Rodney McGruder. They got rid of Doc Rivers as the coach, and they made Ty Lue the coach, and there are no injuries of which to speak of.
Wow.
And they did something really stupid and signed Paul George to like a 5-year, 200 and something.
Yeah, they gave him a
deal.
Supermax contract. Yeah.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
Also happened. But Lindsay.
Yes.
Better or worse than last year? Your opinion?
I honestly have no idea. I think Serge Ibaka was better on defense than Montrezl Harrell was. And I think Luke Kennard is a good shooter, which kind of helps replace Landry Shamet. But it's really all just about this team's chemistry and whether or not they can take their fucking thumb out of their ass.
Well, that's why Serge Ibaka being there is good, because him and Kawhi are like this, son.
Mm-hmm.
Our BFF.
He's the one that was there when he said, "What it do, baby?" And he was rolling a joint.
Was also he was, and was also on Serge Ibaka's cooking show. It's pretty weird. It was a weird. Go on YouTube, find it for yourself.
Serge Ibaka has a cooking show?
Yeah.
Well, never mind.
Chef.
I guess we're not looking for it for ourselves. We're
Chef Baka, what you talking about, man?
Yo, I'm about to watch that shit. I love cooking shows.
Nah, yeah, he definitely. For me personally, I think this. Yeah.
This is some crazy shit. Like, what the fuck?
You were saying?
Yeah, I think the team will overall probably be better than last year. Because the offense is gonna work no matter what, and honestly, there was probably too many cooks in the kitchen anyways last year. So you like how I did that? You like how I threw the cooks in the kitchen and then the kitchen cook it? No? Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe if y'all like shit like that. What's up? All right.
You like shit like that. You like the space. You like how
it's a fucking cornfield in here. I can't.
Comment, share, get your shit on.
Yo, they brought gangsters to YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying. I think overall, because you bring more defense to this team, because honestly, like, the team was too offensively built, and I think they expected Kawhi to do a lot more on defense, and I don't know if because of taking up more of an offensive load and also his low management shit. I don't know if his knees are 100% right. It seems like they aren't. And I think that, like, he's not the same guy on defense that he was in 2017. In 2017, he was a complete player. You know what I mean? Or in 2018, actually, even better. Like, he was definitely like a complete player in 2018 when they won. No, was it 2019 when they won the chip? Whatever year they won the chip.
With the Raptors.
Yeah, with the Raptors. Yeah, 2019. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I don't know if he's that same guy defensively. So I think bringing in Serge Ibaka, bringing in a rim protector, bringing in one of Kawhi's besties is gonna make them play a little better. And then all you gotta really you gotta mend relationships with Patrick Beverley, Lou Williams, shit like that, because the shit that was coming out of this camp was crazy.
Yeah,
like with Kawhi and Paul George coming late to meetings or shit, and making them wait in the airport like for over like an hour and shit like that. Like, that type of shit really like fucks with people. But maybe Serge could be more of a leader in that locker room too, because he seemed like he was one of those, like, he clearly was one of the guys that like made Kawhi feel comfortable in Toronto. And it's not like they knew each other beforehand or anything. So like, maybe he's like, that shows that he took on a leadership role in Toronto and knew what he had to do to make it work for Kawhi and maybe for them to have a chance to win a fake ass championship.
You know what would be something that I would like to have interest in? I'm not even gonna acknowledge that. You know what? You know what I thought would be really interesting? Whatever team Jerry West was associated with, seeing if they hit the over/under that season. I wonder if we could go back, like all the way back. I bet you his over/under is he's like 90% on the over.
Yeah.
Outside of having like the crazy Laker teams that probably had like 60 win total,
or rebuild teams like
I can't. But even in rebuild situations, he had. Like,
oh yeah, that's true. Over/under is that's true.
I bet you he greatly. It's very much he's very much plus 500 on that, I would imagine. And once again, this team, like you guys said, despite having some of the core guys still, is a very different team than it was last year. You have Zubac, you have Ibaka, you have Nicholas Batum. This is a guy who I have no idea if he's still good or not. I kind of talked about that on the Hornets when we talked about the Hornets, because he was with them for a while. I don't know what Nicholas Batum's bringing to the table anymore, but if he's like Portland Nicholas Batum, even a little bit, like he does, I'm not saying all the way. I just think that's a good piece. Like, he's a smart basketball player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when he was playing in Portland, right? Starting 14 points a game, nothing crazy, but 14, 5, and 5, a steal and a block. Like, solid role playing.
Yeah, he doesn't even need that. Like, if he, all he needs to do is knock down some threes and play some good defense, and that's pretty much all they need.
And that's the thing. I'm just not sure. He's definitely not too old. He's only 32, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just turned 32. Happy birthday. And that's a guy who could be like an X factor for this team. I'm just looking at teams, at guys that are a little bit different. But I think the Mavericks are better than this team. Am I crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm crazy.
Yeah. I'm not. I don't got the. That'll be a fun series though, because the Mavs brought them to 6. But the whole thing is having them. I think having them play a year, maybe having Ty Lue as the coach, will make it a little different. And I don't know if I don't think Kawhi, and we'll see obviously like towards the beginning of the season, if Kawhi is really going to be doing a ton of load management. Because I feel like he should.
You mentioned that a little bit earlier. Talk to me about that. I didn't hear anything about him and not doing load management. So talk to me.
So pretty much throughout this whole process, they've attacked pretty much his leadership, his like the way he approached the season, and he pretty much his character was attacked throughout most of this off season. You know what I mean? So I think going into that, you can't do the same thing again. They're openly teammates obviously weren't happy about what you did. So I just can't imagine that you're gonna go into that season again and do the same exact shit. So I think players were upset about the load management, but I think they were more so upset about his attitude towards the team.
Yeah, which is interesting because like you had talked about, that never came out until after the season.
Yeah.
But what makes you think he's gonna not do load management? Because
you got to win over your team.
5 years almost now.
Yeah, but I just don't think he's gonna. It's probably not gonna be as much, and I think because you're the main guy in the team, you have to win. That you clearly haven't won over the team yet. They brought in they had to bring in a guy that fucked with you before, in order to help the chemistry in the locker room. So clearly there's something wrong with that locker room. So a way to win over the team is showing that you have you're showing the same effort that everyone else is. You know what I mean? So I think that's important to him, especially if he's going to want to stay here for the long run too, which I think he did. I think he's going to remain a Clipper for the rest of his career. But
this was a 3-year odyssey to get here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I got to believe that that's where he's going to stay. But I'm very interested in that take on the load management. Spit me some numbers. Spit me some statistics. What do you think for him?
What I think?
We're talking games played. Let's do games played, minutes played, then points, rebounds, assists.
Yeah. So how many games? So let me see, and I could just compare it to last year because They played 73 games last year,
Yes.
right? Because so they pretty much had a 3-month break. So this is
Right.
pretty much normal for what a normal team, like if a team's, if the season ends in June for a team, they usually get from June all the way to October, the end of October, so about 5 months
Right.
of a break. And this team probably has closer to like 3 or 4, right? Because when did they get out of the bubble? In September?
Oh fuck, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll look at when their last game was.
Yeah. So
Shit, too far. You were saying? Sorry.
yeah. So I think
There you go. Yeah, September 15th was the last game.
September 15th. Okay. So yeah, let's go back. So he played 57 of the 70. So he missed 16 games.
Right.
I think I could see him. I think him missing 10 is fine. In order to make that work, because I think it shows it's a little different. They have time off. It's not like they're the Lakers where they just came off of a championship and then 2 months later they have to play. So
Right.
And he's still young. He's fucking still 29. Like he's only 2 years older than us.
No.
Like,
yeah, I could put you're not gonna hear shit out of me on that.
Yeah. So I think only missing 10 games because I'm factoring in the fact that they are also still kind of playing close enough. So I could see him like playing a couple of games and then taking a game off instead of doing like every other game or like missing
Definitely
road
not
games and
playing
shit.
back to back.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, maybe not back to back. But the whole thing is there's so much more back to backs this year.
No, that's why I don't know. That's what makes me so interested in this because I don't know. Load management is going to be a lot harder this year because of how fast you could miss a significant game or a significant point with your team if you choose to do that. And this is a guy who hasn't played more than 60 games in 3 seasons, and that's kind of his game plan. Like that's
but I could see him if he hits 60 games this year, that'll be fine because 60 games out of the 72, that's okay. But I think it's just more so you got to show your team that you're there for them. Like you can't, you know what I mean? Like you can't just expect to just come play and not show that you like.
So give me the rest of his line.
Oh, like his stat line?
Yeah.
But that same shit pretty much.
The 27, 7, and 5.
Yeah, I could see that same thing.
Okay. I think
because no one thought that he wasn't like one of the best players in the world. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
It was just
I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I guess what I'm saying is like, do we think Paul George is going to come out better or worse than he was last year?
I'm never worried.
Nobody left the bubble in worse shape than this man.
Okay, but Paul George is like the perpetual, like, I'm good in the regular season. He's turning into a regular season stud and then just floundering in the playoffs.
He's been that guy.
I know, but I'm saying like that is now becoming what he is, his reputation. So I'm not afraid of what's going to happen in the regular season. I'm just terrified for the postseason.
I don't see Paul George averaging more than 23 points.
I don't see him getting up more than 20, honestly. This is a guy who, like, I don't know. Did you listen to All the Smoke podcast with him?
No, it's really
lots of excuses. Lots of
I heard some of the clips.
Lots of mental weakness.
Yeah,
very concerned. And then he was rewarded with those comments by getting a 5-year extension for the max.
Yeah.
Who were they? I got another one. Who were they competing with for that?
Yeah.
I get it that you traded away your entire future for this guy, but at some point, like, I'm sure Jerry West looked at that situation and was like, I don't know if we should do this.
Yeah, but the whole thing is, they've already established that contracts don't mean shit in the NBA anymore. Like you could, like if they want to trade him, they could trade him.
Yeah,
it's just gonna be like I just don't see it. Paul George going into year 30, and year like being 30 years old. Sorry,
right.
And going into year 10. And he's already showed, like, we saw his peak. His peak was being third in MVP. That was his peak. And I think you're gonna
that's it for him. That's as high as he's getting.
Yeah, I cannot imagine him ever being third in MVP again.
Right.
He's not even close to the top 5 players in the league right now.
Right.
Like, so
and you don't think that's changing?
Yeah, I think we're on the down now. We're on the down slope of his career. I think it's gonna be.
Wow.
I think it's gonna be more of staying at the. If he scores more than 23 points a game this year, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just think the points have got to come from somewhere. You know what I mean? And they did lose points with Trez. You know.
Yeah, but you got Lou Williams is like.
But he was awesome because of Trez. A lot of the time, like
not
that
necessarily.
That pick and roll was lethal, absolutely lethal.
Lou Williams, outside of his thing with Trez, is still like one of the leading scorers in crunch time in the fourth quarter out of anybody in the NBA.
Right. He was their closer. That was throughout the whole year. Lou Williams was their closer.
Yeah,
like if you actually watch the games, he was the guy handling the ball and and taking those shots at the end of the games.
Yeah, not in the playoffs though.
No, yeah, that's
which was
why
stupid.
Him sucking was so. Yeah, but he wasn't doing well in the bubble, and that was also not good for the Clippers.
He was another guy that kind of crumbled either due to the bubble or just having.
But based off of what we're hearing, based off of what we're hearing, maybe there was internal shit that was happening. He didn't like. He's definitely one of those guys that like. I think he's gonna ride for his guys, but if he doesn't like his guys, then
makes it harder.
Might not. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you.
Even Patrick Beverley is another guy like that.
This team still has all the makings of a championship contender.
Oh, for sure.
It still does. And I it's just a matter of is Ty Lue a real good coach, like an actually good coach? We're going to find that out this year. He's a champion, but he's also a champion under LeBron James, which is a little different. So we're going to find out how good of a coach he is, right?
Well, the one thing that's great about Ty Lue... Oh, no, my bad. Keep on.
And then we are going to find out whether... I just don't know if this team... Because this is the last... Unless Kawhi signs some sort of extension during the season, for all you know, he's a free agent. Again, can't imagine him leaving, but like for all you know, he's a free agent, and that's why the Paul George one was so interesting to me because I figured if this season went shitty, I thought they'd let him go, keep Kawhi for the fucking max, and then just continue to do that and let Paul George go. You know what I mean? They did the opposite, and that makes me feel like they're looking at the Kawhi Leonard situation as you want to talk about a guy who might be leaving his prime. This is a guy whose body breaks down every year, right? Every year his body breaks down, whether you want to admit it or not. That's why he hasn't played more than 60 games in a season. And then when he gets to the playoffs and he didn't have the guys around him, right? Like that was the other thing. And we talked about this during the playoffs. He was doing his thing. Like he was trying to get them over the hump. You know what I mean? And, played 39 minutes a game, got almost his 30 points a game. They definitely don't make it past the Mavericks without Kawhi. So I just look at it like I'm very interested to see because I can't imagine this team beating the Lakers. And I can't imagine this team like really beating the Mavericks again in a 7-game series. I can't. I much like you, Daryl, I believe in Luka Legend. And he's only gonna get better.
I believe in Luka Legend. I just don't believe in the full team over this team.
I think they balanced out that defense a little bit, and I don't know if the team is a shoo-in for the conference finals.
But I mean they didn't get in last year. But to go back to your Ty Lue point, one sure he may not have been a championship coach because he was tied to LeBron James, but one thing he did do that is very important and I think this is the reason they chose him as the head coach is he made Kyrie and LeBron work. And then like LeBron trusted him to be the coach after in that Golden State series. There were moments where they actually argued, and it was said that they were about to go into blows. I mean, LeBron and Ty Lue about shit, but LeBron ended up Ty Lue won that power struggle, and it helped them win that series.
Right.
So that knowing that information and him being able to control those two egos, which I think is much worse than the egos that he's dealing with now.
We'll see. We're not so sure based on the stuff that's come out about Kawhi.
Yeah, but I think
up the ball for that shit.
Yeah. But I think that's why he helps them a lot in this season, and I just can't personally. I just don't see Kawhi as that kind of player where he's gonna see all that shit and he knows his teammates are pissed about shit, and I just can't imagine him going back and doing it again. If he does that, he's lost all respect for me. Because that's that's just crazy.
But the over under is what, Lindsay?
44, right?
Yeah.
44.5.
45.5.
45. It's the same. It's about the same as the Mavericks.
Okay, so the top 4 are really close. So they had the Lakers at 46.5, then the Clippers at 45.5, then the Nuggets, who we're going to talk about next, at 44.5, and then the Mavs at 42.5.
Okay.
I got them on the over.
That is like a push for me. I was going to put them right at like 45 wins. Like, that's pretty.
Where do you have them? Like in your mind, where do you think they're going to seat?
Third. I just think stuff that you were talking about before made me kind of think of this through. Like, I really don't think that a guy like Kawhi Leonard gives a flying fuck about the regular season. And just is trying to do the bare minimum to get through. And I just think that their talent is going to get them over the hump to a certain extent, of course. But I think that I just think the Mavericks want to come out and stomp people more. Like, they're mad that they lost in the first round. Like, they know what they have this newfound confidence that I don't feel from a team like this. And maybe I'm bugging out. Maybe I'll be proven to look like an asshole in a month.
So the only thing that I guess the question I have is what makes you think that knowing the information, like, maybe I would have agreed with you last year saying, he doesn't care about the regular season. I agree. But now, knowing that the regular season last year is what fucked him up going into the playoffs, and it is because he had a structure in Toronto. Toronto was already a formed organization, teammates that played with each other, and he was just a piece that got put in and that put them over the hump. Here, you had to put a bunch of pieces, and you didn't have that foundation. So maybe I think now they got to build. Huh?
Maybe he's not capable of that.
I see. That's what I don't. I think he is. I personally,
I just don't know. My whole thing. I'm not telling you no. I'm not telling you yes. I'm telling you.
and
this is me about Kawhi now, because I at the end of that finals when he beat the Warriors with the Raptors, I really felt like he was the third coming of Kobe and MJ and that style guy. I said it a billion times on the show.
Yeah. I agreed with you.
And there's a lot of things that I'm concerned about now going into this from up here that I wasn't originally as concerned, that I didn't see until this playoffs ended.
Yeah. Just my last thing. This last thing. I'm just surprised that you think that the Mavs have more of a chip on their shoulder over the Clippers, because the Clippers they felt entitled to being in the Western Conference Finals. Right. They didn't get it.
Yeah.
And then they have everyone in the media, everyone is praising the Mavs. Right. And everyone's shitting on the Clippers. So they have all reason to have a chip on their shoulder over the Mavs, to me.
But that's also implying that they're mentally tough. And that's why I can't. That's where it's coming from for me. This is a mentally weak ball club until further notice.
Yeah. I see.
There's no way to think otherwise.
Last year, I think at the end of once on the recap of the Denver and Clippers series, I think I said this before, and I still think the same thing. I think this team is going to be better this year than they were last year, and I think they're going to be it's going to be tougher. They're going to be a much tougher team to beat. Like it's not going to be the same. It is not going to be the same team in a 7-game series. This team is going to be tough to beat.
I hope you're right. I like having teams that aren't mentally weak and pussies in my playoffs. So
Yeah.
that would be a good thing. But I'm taking the under. I'm taking the it's a push for me. And since it's a push, I'll take the under. Since you're gonna take
okay. Yeah, I was gonna say you can't push 40 half a point.
I think they're gonna get to the first half of the last game and just decide, fuck it, we're done.
Yeah. I got them at like maybe 47, 48 wins, something like that.
Yeah.
And second or third in the West.